Hello, Anne Spencer here, and welcome to the Wellbeing Channel, is what I call it. Different ways to cope and shift, help us with our nerves, anxiety, or even if you just want to find ways to build confidence in yourself. Overall, ways to feel good about ourselves, yeah? Okay, firstly, compose yourself. Stretch and get that body working. Walk with confidence is all I'm saying. And look around you. What's going on? Why don't you? I want you to find something amusing in today. Something, anything. Find an angle. There's always an angle to make yourself smile. Even better, have a laugh. Have a laugh. Liven up your life. Live it to the full potential. Find ways of filling your breath, and your spirit will follow, which is the subject today. Breath and presence. To find that spirit and ways how to do it. Don't waste your hours and days waiting for something to come to you. It's been said before, you owe yourself discipline to allow each day to open up something good. Return yourself to the present moment. That's what I want you to do throughout your day. We were actually born to be this present because it's the art of survival. I've said it before and I will say it again. So believe it or not, we are all in this together, is how I see it, is where I'm at. We are more connected by our sameness than divided by our differences. I like that one. Little Shakespearean quote there. We also know through our lives we will be battled by various things, battled to the ground. But enable yourself to practice listening, reading and speaking in the present moment, a positive present moment. And you're feeling yourself in that present state, and you will absorb more clearly what's going on around you, and you will see things more clearly. And I can guarantee you that because I have done it. Because when we're talking about placebo, for example, mind over matter and all that jazz, well, having new thoughts towards new goals or new situations, or just bringing in new information into your head. Good thoughts heighten your emotional state. And that emotional state within you is a turbocharge, darling. You're turbocharging yourself into good emotions. What more can I say? In these states of emotion, the mind improves your physical health. Remember, it always does. And then it will release all those good hormones within us, oxytocin, endorphins, and a number of other ones that are all sitting there waiting. Complex to understand, but simpler to put into practice. Let me explain. The breath. All human energy is breath, as we might know. We know, but we don't think about it. But the body houses you, and the breath powers you. So it's the first act you will perform, and the last. Well, that puts things into perspective, darling. Breathe. The breath powers your body, your voice and your mind. Now, this is all what I learnt through acting as well, which does help. In fact, if you examine words like inspiration, respiration, well, you notice the presence of spirit embedded into the word. As you breathe in ideas, you touch inspiration, and on your last breath, you expire it. It's the very key to all your energy and is completely fundamental to being present. So when you're taking your 10 minutes of meditation or mindfulness, breathe in a thought and exhale it the way you like. I guess we take our breath for granted. Well, of course we do. We don't think about these things. It's automatic, really. But in our world, this Western world, this way in which we live, we've really ceased to breathe naturally and fully and freely. Every inhalation takes in energy from the world. Look at it like that. And then it attaches you to it. On exhalation, you send what is inside you out into the world. And in doing so, you touch and change the world with your breath. Whatever is good or ill within us, in the connection to ourselves and the world, it is clearly reflected in how we breathe. And as an actor, we know that. When you're changing character, for someone that's in fear, then your breath should become much more contracted, more constrained. That's just an example. It sounds quite romantic in its essence, and yet it is true. So the essence of our breath and the essence of being human is really quite amazing if we stop to consider that. And that's when you're connecting brain and mind. Coherence, dare I say it. But whatever that good is within, you're putting it back out. If, for example, you've tied yourself in knots physically, then your breath is equally contorted. You've lost pleasure in taking breath and forgotten how important breath is. Dare I say more? And we all understand that, of course. It is the plight of each individual in society, let's face it. But how do you breathe? Yeah? Consider these questions. Numero 1. Where do you feel physical movement in your body as you breathe when you're taking that time? Where do you feel it? In your chest, in your stomach, diaphragm, even in your neck, your head? Do you regularly feel that? Ask yourself that question. Numero 2. Do you regularly hold your breath, even if it's for a split second? You might not, but if you do, when do you and for how long? Numero 3. Can you hear your breath? Breathing in and breathing out. Be conscious of that when you're doing your meditation. How often are you aware of your breath? Recognizing whether your breath changes when you're upset and hearing it when you're relaxed. To be so conscious of where that breath is sitting in each of these questions is really pulling you in to be present. This is the whole idea. Number 5. Are there people who affect your breath? Do they stop you breathing or enhance your breath? Very nice indeed. That sounds like someone's going to grab you by the throat and squeeze the living air out of you. It's much safer than that and a lot more enjoyable. Yes, those people in our lives, how do you react to them? Or at least to what they say? That could be very interesting. That would be a very good thing to do. That would be a very interesting thing to do. So meeting those people that you do regularly or someone that you meet regularly, try and or endeavour to be present or endeavour to be very present with them and aware. They won't know what you're doing because you're in your own moment, in your own space. So you want to be so present to listen how you feel when they are actually talking to you. Yeah? Where is your breath? And recognise your breath, the air that's inside you. I think that could be quite a fun thing to do. Right, okay, last but not least, number 6. Are there situations when you know your breath will fail you? I know there are with me in certain situations before I even arrive. I know that I'm going to be nervous about it, but I've never really listened to how I feel with my breath when I'm actually there at that point. Probably more to the thoughts of going into a difficult situation prior to being in them. I guess I've worked myself up just by thought alone. In other words, is your body squeezed in order to exert energy outwards? Small amounts of stress panic the breath, you see, and there, hostile environments, whatever it might be, that you can find yourself in, that block your breath. Again, just being a little bit aware. Okay, these are only small sections, small ways to help you come into presence or come into that present moment with yourself, really, with yourself. The clarity of how you listen to people, the clarity of what you see, the clarity of what you do is all down to your perspective. So it's all about you and how you see things. It's you that's being present. And you'll find other people will become present with you. It's not all at once, of course. Just bringing these questions while meditating, very good. Or if you're in any environment, like I say, which makes you feel anxious, think of at least one of these questions. And when you focus on one of those and on your breath, this slows you down. This slows your worrying thoughts. It shoves you back into a more rational emotion. We don't want to negotiate anything, even our feelings, out of fear. But we never want to fear to negotiate either. Somewhat of a juxtaposition, dare I say, and in this contrast, well, it's a quote from somewhere, I'm sure, but very wise one to think about and use. Okay, so that's me trailblazing along. It's only natural, let me just say. It is natural to hold your breath for a moment if and when you're shocked or you require a sudden shift in your attention. You can't help it. But this hold should not continue beyond the event that's taken place. If it does, then you will be filling yourself with anxiety and you will become nervous on a regular basis because you're not letting it go. If you regularly hold your breath, you do not want to be noticed and probably desire to disappear. I know I've been in that position. But breath has to have movement. And by stopping that movement, you are avoiding being present and seen in the world. You want to be seen. You want to see yourself and you want to be seen. You're rather like a little mouse aware of a big, giant hawk hovering overhead. This stillness is a survival tactic, but the mouse re-engages its breath, and after the hawk is gone, well, off he shoots. This is clearly being in the first circle of breath, which is something that Patsy Rodenberg had written and I spoke about earlier on, but I won't digress any further than that. Although let me say, you want to impose your full size onto the world, darling. Yes, you do. Unless you don't feel like it sometimes, that's okay. But if you're interested in that, the next one I can follow through with a little bit more elaboration on the breath. But in the meantime, I hope you enjoyed this little snippet, and thanks for listening. And remember, please subscribe and click and follow and all that jazz, and we can continue on the journey. Thank you. Bye.